Welcome to It's Good for Business, the show that helps both managers and employees improve productivity, teamwork, and the bottom line. Today's topic, do it right the first time.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Ferguson?
Kristen, you didn't get the dates right, and the spreadsheet chart is for first quarter of last year. Here, take a look at it yourself.
Oh, Mr. Ferguson, I don't know what to say. I proved the report before sending it to duplication, but I must have missed those 300 items. Give me another chance. I still have the report on my computer. I can make the corrections right away.
I'd rather you did it right the first time.
Live from Briefings Publishing Group. Do it right the first time. It's good for business.
And now, direct from our studios at Briefings Publishing Group, here's Valerie.
Thank you, and a big thanks to all our viewers out there. In today's competitive environment, attention to even the smallest detail can mean the difference between success and failure. So we asked you to send us your stories on how to do it right the first time. We received literally hundreds of replies, but one story stood out above all the rest. So we sent our camera team on location just to see if it was too good to be true. In a moment, we'll share what we found and hear from today's special guest. But first, here's Donnie in our It's Good for Business Detail Lab. Donnie?
Hi, Valerie. Would you look at the attention to detail that went into this circuit board? This is the type of quality that sells itself. Hi, I'm Don Thompson, a.k.a. Donnie Detail, direct to you from the Detail Lab here at It's Good for Business. By completing all the details in your assigned task, you may win some valuable customers, and you'll definitely safeguard your company's reputation for excellence. So, how can you pay better attention to the details in your job? Start by paying close attention to this program, where you'll learn a 3-step approach that will help you to master the basics, prepare thoroughly, and follow through for success, so you can do it right the first time. Now, back to you, Valerie.
Thanks, Donnie. And now, it's time to hear from today's special guest, the Do It Right the First Time champ herself, Kristen Johnson. Hi, Kristen. Welcome to It's Good for Business.
Hi, thank you, Valerie. It's just a thrill to be here.
Thank you. Kristen, tell us about your company and give our viewers some background about yourself and your most recent task.
Sure, Val. I can call you Val, can't I?
Yes, Kristen.
Well, I work for CompuDocs. We're a computer repair company, and I've worked as an administrative assistant to the division manager for about 3 years. A good part of my job involves helping him to create reports on business activity. The report I want to talk about today is especially important. It forecasts business trends and the resources our company needs to meet future demands.
Sounds impressive. How did you ensure that it was done right the first time?
Well, my first step was to master the basics.
We've got some videotape that will take us back to the beginning of your task. And while we watch, tell us about the strategies and tips that you use to master the basics.
Okay, roll it, Valerie.
The main objective of this report is to produce some clear, concise graphs and charts that visualize...
To master the basics, you need to listen to and understand instructions. Tune out distractions and practice active listening. That's a combination of good posture and intelligent questions.
Should I use the same chart formats I developed for the inventory report?
That's a good question. Here, I've entered some basic numbers in the main spreadsheet. Go ahead and generate the graph using your format.
If you are not absolutely sure about a direction, ask.
Good point. I've got an interesting email from Mike in Sandusky, and Mike offers this strategy for mastering the basics: focus on accuracy. He writes, as you learn about the basics of your task, make sure any information you collect is accurate. If you get the basics wrong, you'll place your whole project at risk.
Accuracy is a vital strategy to mastering the basics.
And Kristen, you have your basic facts right on target. Let's take a look.
Hey, Janice, do you know the amount of space available for spare parts in our new warehouse?
Not offhand, but I guess about 10,000 square feet, give or take 1,000 or so.
I really need to know exactly. It's a crucial figure in my report. Look, I'll plug your estimate in for now and note it, but do you think you could get back to me? Do you think you could find out the exact figure?
Sure, I'll make a couple calls and get back to you by tomorrow afternoon.
Great, thanks. Now I've just got a couple more details I need to clarify.
Way to go, Kristen.
Well, I thought about accepting Janice's guess, but just for a moment. Steve is a stickler on including accurate and up-to-date information. He doesn't want the reader to waste time on assumptions, or worse yet, make a poor decision based on faulty information.
Another good point. I'm told we've got a call from Paula in Boston, who's got another tip to share with us about focusing on accuracy. Are you there, Paula?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, Paula, could you turn down your television? We're getting some feedback.
Sure. Is that better?
Much better. Now, tell us your tip.
Okay. Before I accept anything less than total accuracy, I consider the effect of an error on customers. You see, I want them to depend on me for solid information. Just the thought of one unhappy customer gives me the chills.
Okay, well,
That helps me pay better attention to detail.
all right, well, with tips like that, I'm sure you'll say nice and toasty in Beantown. Thanks for calling, Paula.
You know, Val, customers can be both external, the people who buy your company's products or services, as well as internal, those people your product goes to inside your company. That leads directly to my next tip. Consider the payoffs of a job well done. If you do the job right the first time, you will feel a real sense of pride.
And you're sure to get high marks on your performance evaluation. Hold on. Donnie would like to offer another strategy to help us master the basics. Donnie, take it away.
That's right, Val. My next strategy to master the basics is retain what you learn. I'm going to show you some proven memory aids and other learning tools that will help you to remember those ever so important instructions you received when you're first assigned a task. A good way to start is by taking notes. Use a paper notebook or a personal digital assistant, whatever you are most comfortable with. That's how Kristen was able to remember all those detailed instructions about how to create her report. Back at her office, I noticed that Kristen always had her notebook at the ready.
Good eye. That's a detail guy for you. I've found that it's best to keep your notes brief. Just focus on capturing the key points of the task that you need to do.
Here are some more tools you can use to jog your memory. If your task involves customer service, you might attach sticky notes to your phone, reminding you to ask customers to spell their names and to give their phone numbers, including area code. If your task involves sales of a new product, you could create a series of index cards with specific product information. And for a complex task like entering information into your company's database, consider creating a step-by-step instruction sheet to guide you through the steps involved. And finally, make sure you keep all these memory aids close at hand when you're ready to start your task.
Okay, and we're back and ready to move on to step 2. Prepare thoroughly for your task. And to help us out, we've got a special guest waiting backstage. But first, I need to ask Kristen this question. Who is the one most demanding person that you know of when it comes to thorough preparation?
Well, my boss, Steve?
Correct. Steve, we understand that you're a real stickler for thorough preparation.
That's right. And Kristen does some of the best preparation I've ever seen. She's great at gathering information and developing a plan.
Thanks, boss. Before I start, I bring together all of the information and resources that I'll need. Then I plan out each step right through to the final product.
Okay, Steve, from your perspective, What's one of the most important pieces of information that Kristen can determine before she starts her task?
Well, Valerie, for producing a quality report, I think it's identifying the audience.
I agree. Your audience will determine the content, the level of detail, length, and presentation style of the report. It may also dictate who receives copies and whether they're sent electronically or as printed documents.
See what I mean?
Yes. I've got this email from Carrie, who offers this tip for gathering information and developing a plan. Carrie writes, have all your information at hand. Make sure you gather all the necessary facts. If you leave out just one important fact, you could dramatically affect the quality of your work. Kristen, do you agree?
That is so true, Valerie. When I was gathering information, I needed to find a set of labor projections. It took a lot of researching, but locating those figures really added value to my report.
Thorough preparation also includes obtaining the right tools for the job. And I understand that Donnie's got something to say about that. Donnie.
I sure do, Valerie. Most reports and presentations are probably going to include some sort of charts and graphs, so make sure you have a spreadsheet or graphics program properly installed on your computer. Now, if you need office supplies, such as a divider, colored paper, or a binder, get everything together before you begin. You may also want to ask your boss for a recent report similar to the one that you're going to compile. Ask him to pick out one that he's especially happy with, then use it as a template to reference fonts, formats, and style in your report.
Good advice, Donnie. And I'm told that we have another caller on the line.
Hi, this is Rodney in Wichita. I just wanted to offer my own tip about preparation.
Go ahead, we're all ears.
Well, I'm a bit nervous, but here it goes. When I prepare, one of the first things I do is determine my deadline and then set a schedule.
That is good advice. Tell us more.
You see, knowing exactly when my task is due lets me develop a realistic production schedule.
That's a great tip. Personally, I like to schedule backwards from my delivery date.
Really? So you schedule the last step first?
That's right. Let's say I need to deliver a report by close of business on Friday, and I have all week. I'd schedule report editing to begin no later than Wednesday afternoon, and initial preparation starting Monday morning.
Scheduling backwards is a great technique. It gives you a clearer look at both the process and the time required to complete each step along the way.
Wow. Well, Steve, I'd like to thank you so much for your input and for being on the show today.
It was my pleasure, Valerie. See you back at the office, Kristen.
Have a good day. Kristen, we've mastered the basics.
And plan thoroughly.
Now it's time to
Follow through for success.
And we've got some great strategies lined up for this next segment. Let's get started. Roll tape.
As I start my task, my first strategy is to keep focused. I put everything else aside. I close my email, put magazines and other documents away, and tune out my coworkers and workplace noises. Once I've started, I keep my focus by monitoring my own work. I double-check each item as I go along, and I fix problems early. That way I create a complete, accurate document that will serve my customers and coworkers well.
That is great advice, Kristen. But there's still something else you do that a lot of people don't. And to tell us about it, we've got another special guest standing by. Welcome to the show, Gladys.
It's wonderful to be here, Valerie. Hello, Kristen.
Hi.
Gladys Armstrong is Kristen's senior coworker. Gladys, would you share with us yet another way that Kristen stays so focused on her work?
It would be my pleasure. Kristen is never too proud to ask for help when she needs it. A long time ago, I learned an important lesson. If you have any doubt whether you're doing the job right, stop. Kristen has learned that lesson well. When she's stumped, she always checks with either Steve or me. The entire office appreciates Kristen's total commitment to accuracy and quality. Staying focused on your job is yet another way to focus on success. Now, I
I understand that Donnie has yet another strategy that's equally helpful. Donnie?
That's right, Valerie. My next strategy is review your work. That may sound straightforward, but you'd be surprised at how many employees skip that critical step. Before you complete any task, put it through your own detailed check. If you're compiling a report, ask yourself, is the tone and level of information correct? Put yourself in the place of your intended audience. Are you talking down to them? Is the information over their heads? Will they be informed as they read your report? Is this the latest and most correct version of the document? Are business and street addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses correct? Are dates correct? This is especially important at the beginning of the year when it's common to keep using last year's date from force of habit. Did you run the documents through the spell checker and grammar checker? Are all proper names spelled correctly? And finally, is the formatting and styling correct? Are columns of bulleted points properly indented and aligned? Are tables and charts properly set up with the correct headings or captions? Are there any mathematical errors? Always check your math by recalculating your computations.
Excuse me, Donnie. I think you've missed one important tip. Ask a seasoned coworker to take a look at the document.
That's right. Once I've done my own proofing, I always ask Gladys to look it over. Another pair of eyes might catch something I've missed.
Oh, Kristen, I'm dying to ask you. What do you do if you make a mistake?
Well, Valerie, that is a strategy unto itself. Simply put, it's your job to be accountable and set the situation right.
We've got a video email that agrees with you. Here's Mary from Baltimore.
Hi, I was watching your show online, and I wanted Kristen to know that when it comes to handling problems, I agree with her 110%. Look, if you know you've made a mistake, tell your boss. It's to your advantage if you take responsibility and reveal the error. That's a lot better than having your boss or a coworker discover the problem.
Thanks for your support, Mary, and you are so right. But once you've taken responsibility, don't stop there. Make it your mission to set the situation right. Ask for time to fix your error and agree on a deadline to hand in your revised work.
Gladys, with your years of experience, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do, Valerie. In fact, I'll offer it as one more strategy for following through for success. Learn from your mistakes.
And don't repeat them.
All right, so do you two have tips for us?
One technique I use is to check for patterns. If I find myself making mistakes, I sit down, put them into a list. Then I analyze my list to see if any areas stand out.
You should also try to reconstruct your mistakes so you can find out how they happened. A good way to do this is to ask yourself a series of questions like, was I trying to do 2 jobs at once? Did I leave out a step? Did a coworker distract me? Did I not listen carefully to a customer or my supervisor?
And once you've analyzed your mistakes, you need to get it right the second time. Usually you'll be cut some slack for your first error. If you're given a second chance, make sure you do the job perfectly.
Those are some good tips. Kristen, Gladys, I want to thank you both for being on the show today. Employees like Kristen who succeed on the job do so because they master the basics. They prepare thoroughly and they follow through for success so they can do it right the first time. If they make a mistake, they accept responsibility and make certain that they correct the error if given a second chance. And if you make success a habit, one success will build on the other. Thanks for joining us on It's Good for Business, and remember, do it right the first time.
For more ways on doing it right the first time, check out these programs by Briefings Publishing Group. Do more in less time. Tame your workload by dramatically increasing your productivity. Achieving peak performance on the job. And listening, the key to productivity.